Watts,
Mr. Deepak,
how's it going?
it's going good.
Okay, why are we here today?
Come true.
Human rights.
Okay, I have human rights. I have rights. I'm a human.
Wait, why?
Well, because I was born with them. As a human, there's this. Have you ever heard of the word like innate?
Innate?
Innate.
I know that in means like, yeah, you have something, but what does it mean what does innate mean?
So innate would mean like permanent, essential. It's something that you have with you for since you were born. Like you have innate DNA.
So, that makes sense. Nobody could take my DNA from me.
No, well, I mean they could take your hair, but you would still have your DNA.
Your rights
Yeah,
are innate.
they're innate.
Where did you get them?
I was born with them. As a human, I have them.
Were your parents born with them?
Totally, they were humans.
Let's go back 1,000 years. They have them?
Were humans 10,000 years ago?
So they had human rights 10,000 years ago.
Ah, but were they recognized? I can still have something, but it may not be recognized by everybody.
Like a hidden talent?
Or more like, for example, remember that unit on religion that we did?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, about Christianity?
Yeah.
Right. So, was Christianity always a religion?
No. It wasn't even the first Abrahamic religion.
Yeah, it was just a group of people, right? And then it became, you could only maybe even say a sect, and then it became a religion, right?
And then it became recognized.
Recognized, yeah.
So they existed, but there wasn't like a for sure name about it,
Right.
or like it wasn't written down.
Yeah, they were there, but nobody recognized it.
So then what changed? How did human rights become recognized?
They were always kind of there, but it developed over time. But it really came to the forefront post-World War II.
World War II was, hold on. This is a for real guess. It started in 1939
Yes.
and ended in 1945.
Yep, 1945. Yep, that's right. And there were two big groups. Do you remember those groups?
Yes and no. So for their allies,
Yeah, we got their allies.
which was America,
England,
England, France, Canada.
Canada, yeah.
That's it, right?
I think the Australians you could throw in there. You could
Throw
throw,
in
yeah.
there.
You could throw in the Russians. You could throw in the Chinese.
Russia?
Yeah.
I thought.
That's after World War II. The Cold War is after World War II. Yeah.
Okay.
And then you have the other side,
The Axis.
the Axis, AXIS.
So not like wood chopping axis.
No. The Axis in this sense, like X-axis, Y-axis.
Oh, like the same as the math thing.
Yeah, like the math thing.
I'll have to talk to Mr. Elsoff about that. That's actually
And
kind of
then
interesting.
They were the Italians,
Japan. What was that last?
the Germans,
Okay.
and I guess you could also say like Austria-Hungary.
Wait, let's just go back. So we're talking about human rights, which are a
Right.
good thing. Why are we talking about World War II? Because that was honestly a pretty bad thing, right? I mean, millions of people died.
Yeah.
Isn't that something that would have hurt human rights? I don't see how that leads to human rights.
Well, I mean, you've gotten in a fight with somebody before, right?
Sure. You mean verbally, physically? Well, yeah.
Either way, we'll just even say a verbal fight, right? So after you have a fight, like, how do you feel?
Bad, icky,
Yeah.
gross.
Bad, icky, gross. And most people, after they have a fight with maybe their friend or with their partner, they try to figure out ways to not have more fights anymore, or have different fights, or have better fights, or have more intelligent fights.
I think that's the part that I'm missing. I don't
Okay.
reflect on my fights.
Ah.
But keep going.
Okay. So after World War II, people got together and they were like, you know what? We need a better mechanism to prevent people from fighting. And if we have a mechanism called the United Nations, so the United Nations was created in 1945.
I always assumed that was something that just always existed. So
No. Yeah.
United Nations comes out because of World War II.
Yeah, 1945.
I still don't get the connection to human rights.
Well, the United Nations, why do you think they came about after World War II?
Kind of like what you said, like you have a fight and you're like, well, can we figure out a way to prevent this?
Right. So if we want to prevent something in the future, then we all have to kind of agree about how we view each other as humans and what we decide as humans, kind of like standards. Like what are our like in English class, language
Right.
arts, we have standards.
Yeah, it's a thing that we all agree to work on. Like every student that we talk to, we're like, hey, we're going to talk to you about developing a character. It's not like we talk to one student about a different thing or have a different standard or
Yeah.
a different idea.
So the UN came up with this thing. They had two big documents. There was a UN charter that in order to become a UN member, you have to sign on to the charter. And then
The charter is just like a fancy word for rules.
Yeah. And then you have the UDHR, which is the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And this UDHR is a big list of articles that the people who sign on, member states, agree in principle, not necessarily always in practice, so these are our two big documents, to uphold. These are goals for countries to uphold.
Was there any specific person that started this, or was it a specific country?
Yeah, so I like to think of it as I think I created an acronym for myself. It was
An acronym?
I did.
We love acronyms.
We do. It's what was that acronym? Oh yeah, LAF 3C3U, right?
Laugh C3U.
Yeah. So Lebanon, Australia, France. All right, three countries that begin with C.
Canada.
Yeah, bingo.
Wait, oh, I like this
Yeah.
name. Canada,
Uh-huh.
Cambodia.
No.
Oh, and they're allies. Okay, Canada,
Uh-huh.
China,
China, and now another one I didn't say. It's the longest country in the world. It's in South America. It's
Chile.
Chile. And then 3U.
These are countries.
Yeah, you named them all earlier.
United States,
Uh-huh.
Uganda,
No. United
Nations,
Kingdom.
Kingdom,
And before it was Russia, it was the...
USSR.
So they had this working group together, and they formed a committee, and they're like, okay, we're going to get together, and we're going to create this universal declaration of human rights. Things that we all believe that everybody should uphold.
Now, I also read too that one of the things that really kind of impacted this idea of wanting to create a fair way to treat people just for being a human being was the Holocaust.
Yeah.
And so the Holocaust, from what I understand, was the mass killing of
It was
Jewish
murder.
people
Yeah.
in a systematic way.
Yeah.
So during World War II, Hitler
Mhm.
specifically decided to take people who were Jewish,
Mm-hmm.
which from our religion unit we're familiar with, and just because they're Jewish, put them in large camps and systematically. So that means you have like a system, a program, a way to kill as many of them as possible because they were Jewish. And so this was something that these countries that came together to form the UN, they look back on and they're like, wow, this is something that is an atrocity. Atrocity is a fancy word for like, this is like super bad.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. Yeah, that was one of the events that happened within World War II. I mean, the Holocaust essentially demeaned humans. It made one group of humans view that another group of humans weren't even humans. One of the articles in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights recognizes that nobody shall be enslaved. Because as a slave, one human views another human as not equal, not a human.
Property.
Yeah.
Wow, so it sounds like by understanding this history,
Mm-hmm.
when we begin to talk about the actual rules or articles,
Right.
it's going to make a lot more sense.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Thanks, Watson.
All right.
Blah, blah, blah.